I stood on my mother's front porch, my boots sinking into the snow, holding a gift box in each hand. Inside, the fire was roaring. The tree was lit with 1,000 lights, and my brother's voice was booming over the laughter of 20 guests. Just 3 days ago, my mother had looked me in the eye and said, "Sarah, honey, I'm just too tired this year. My arthritis is flaring up. I'm not doing Christmas. Let's just skip it." I had hugged her. I had told her I understood. I had told my two children, Leo and Mia, the most well behaved, gentle souls you could ever meet, that grandma was sick, so we would just have a quiet dinner at home. They were disappointed, but they made her get well cards instead of complaining. We just wanted to stop by for 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Just to drop off the cashmere sweater I bought her and the expensive scotch for my dad, give them a hug, and leave them to rest. But as I stood there, shivering not from the cold but from the shock, I saw my brother Mark's two sons, absolute terrors who had broken my mother's antique vase last year, running around the living room, screaming and throwing food. And there was my mother, the woman too sick to host us, pouring wine and laughing, looking healthier than she had in years. Everyone was there. My aunts, my cousins, my brother. Everyone except me, my husband, and my children. I was about to ring the doorbell, but then my husband, David, gently touched my arm. He pointed to the driveway. A brand new luxury car was parked there with a red bow on it, a gift from my parents to my brother. "Let's go," David whispered. His voice was calm, but his eyes were cold steel. "No," I said, "not yet." Because my mother didn't know one tiny detail. That pension she thought she was living on? That lucky investment that paid off her mortgage 5 years ago? That wasn't luck. That was David. That was us. "Hello, I'm Sarah. And this is the story of how my mother threw a party to celebrate excluding us without realizing she was celebrating on my dime. If you're watching this, subscribe and tell me in the comments. What would you do if your family erased you?" I rang the doorbell. The laughter inside didn't stop immediately. It took a moment. Then my mother opened the door. Her face was flushed with wine and joy until she saw me. The color drained from her face faster than the blood leaving a wound. "Sarah?" she stammered. "What? What are you doing here?" "We just came to drop off your gifts, Mom," I said, my voice trembling slightly. "Since, Christmas was canceled." My brother Mark appeared behind her, holding a beer. He didn't look ashamed. He looked annoyed. "Oh, great," Mark scoffed. "Here comes the drama queen." "Look, Sarah, Mom just didn't want the stress of too many people. You know how uptight you get about your kids' schedules. We just wanted a relaxed night." A relaxed night? My children, Leo and Mia, were sitting in the car, waiting patiently. They never screamed. They never broke things. Meanwhile, behind Mark, I could see his youngest son literally climbing the curtains. "Too many people?" I asked, looking past them at the 30 guests crammed into the living room. "You invited the entire extended family. You lied to me. You told me you were sick." My mother sighed, the guilt quickly replaced by defensiveness. "Oh, stop it, Sarah. You're overreacting. We just didn't think you'd fit the vibe this year. You and David are always so serious. Mark's family is just more fun. Don't make a scene on Christmas." "Fun," I repeated. I looked at the chaos inside, the mess, the noise. So my well-behaved children are boring, but Mark's chaos is fun. And lying to my face, that's just family dynamics, right? "Go home, Sarah," Mark sneered. "Nobody wants you here. Take your gifts and go." I looked at my mother. I waited for her to defend me. I waited for her to say, "Mark, stop. That's your sister." Instead, she just crossed her arms. "Maybe it's best if you leave, dear. You're upsetting the guests. We'll talk in January." That was the moment. The cord snapped. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just placed the gifts on the snowy porch mat. "Okay," I said. "Enjoy the party. Enjoy the house. Enjoy the wine. Enjoy it all, while it lasts." I turned around and walked back to the car. When I got in, David looked at me. He didn't say a word. He knew. He had seen enough. David comes from money, old money, but he's humble. He drives a 5-year-old truck, wears simple clothes, and hates showing off. My family always thought he was a mid level manager at a logistics company. They thought he was boring and average. They had no idea that he owned the logistics company and three others. For 7 years, ever since my father retired with zero savings, David and I had been funding their lives. We set up an anonymous trust fund through a lawyer. We told them it was a long lost dividend from an old investment of my grandfather's. We paid their mortgage, we paid their health insurance. We sent a monthly stipend of $4,000 so they could travel and buy gifts. We did it anonymously because we didn't want them to feel indebted. We wanted them to have dignity. David, I said, staring at the glowing house in the rearview mirror. Yes, he replied, his hand already on his phone. Pull the plug. He nodded. He didn't even unlock the phone. He just dialed our family attorney, Mr. Henderson, even though it was Christmas Eve. Henderson, David said. I'm sorry to disturb you. Execute Protocol Zero on the parents' trust, tonight. Yes, immediate suspension of all assets. The mortgage, the cards, the monthly stipend, all of it. Notify them by email tomorrow morning. The car ride home was silent, but it wasn't a sad silence. It was the silence of a heavy burden finally being dropped. We went home, made hot cocoa for Leo and Mia, and watched movies. It was the best Christmas we ever had. No drama, no insults, just peace. The fallout started on January 2nd. I was at work when my phone rang. It was my mother. I let it go to voicemail. Then my father called. Then Mark. By noon, I had 15 missed calls. I finally listened to a voicemail from my mother. Her voice was high-pitched, panicked. Sarah, call me back. Something terrible has happened. The bank called. They say the mortgage payment bounced. And the credit card? It was declined at the grocery store. I called the lawyer who handles the trust and he said the benefactor has terminated the arrangement. We don't know what to do. We spent everything on Christmas. I smiled. I took a sip of my coffee and went back to work. A week later, they showed up at my house. All of them. Mom, Dad, Mark. They looked ragged. I opened the door but didn't let them in. Sarah, my dad said, looking pale. We need help. We don't understand what's happening. The money, it's just gone. We might lose the house. That's terrible, I said calmly. But I'm sure Mark can help. He has that new luxury car you bought him, right? Maybe he can sell it. Mark looked at the ground. I can't. It's leased in your name, Dad. I can't sell it. Of course. Well, I said, I don't know what you want me to do. David is just a mid-level manager, remember? We're boring. We don't have that kind of money. My mother started crying. Sarah, please, we're family. Why are you being so cold? Cold? I laughed. Mom, you left me in the snow on Christmas Eve. You told me I wasn't wanted. You lied to me. That was just a party, she screamed. This is our lives. Who was paying for it? We need to find the donor. David walked up behind me. He was wearing his old hoodie, holding a mug of tea. You found him, David said. They stared at him. What? The donor, David said simply. The Angel Trust. That was me. That was Sarah. We paid off your house. We paid for your cruises. We paid for that wine you were drinking while you laughed at my wife standing outside your window. My mother's jaw dropped. My father looked like he was going to be sick. Mark looked from David to me, his eyes wide with realization. You? Mark whispered. But you guys are... We are the people you treated like garbage because we didn't fit your vibe, I finished. We didn't tell you because we wanted you to feel proud. But you used our money to spoil Mark, to raise entitled grandchildren, and to exclude the daughter who was actually keeping a roof over your heads. Sarah, please, my mother sobbed, reaching for my hand. We didn't know. We're so sorry. We can fix this. Please don't take the house. I pulled my hand away. I'm not taking the house, Mom. The bank is. Because I'm not paying the mortgage anymore. But family, she wailed. Family, I said, my voice shaking just a little, is the people who invite you inside when it's cold, not the ones who lock the door. I closed the door. It's been 3 months. They had to downsize. They live in a small apartment now. Mark had to get a second job because my parents can no longer support his lifestyle. They call me every week. They send cards. They apologize. They say they've learned their lesson. And maybe they have. But my children, my sweet, well behaved Leo and Mia, they asked me why Grandma didn't want to see us on Christmas, and I promised them I would never let anyone make them feel unwanted ever again. I didn't do it for revenge. I did it to show them that you cannot bite the hand that feeds you and expect it to keep petting you. We are spending next Christmas in a cabin in the mountains, just the four of us. No drama, no lies, just real, honest love. And the money we used to send to my parents? We started a college fund for Mark's kids because they're going to need it. And unlike my family, I don't blame the children for the sins of the parents. But they won't get a dime until they turn 21. If you enjoyed this story, leave a like and subscribe. And remember, be careful who you shut out in the cold. You might find that they were the ones keeping you warm. See you in the next story.